Thank you very much for accepting the invitation to attend the free webinar on Red Sea sharks, ecology and sustainable use. The importance of this webinar is to share our information and our experience with sharks in the southern Red Sea, Egypt, that we reported very, very important information about sharks. For example, why the sharks approach and be very close to the shores in a specific time per year, for example. And this information maybe we can get a conclusion for some sharks attacks in some places or some sites, depend on what. So at the end of this presentation, I think your vision for the presence of sharks will be completely different. We will start first with some knowledge about the sharks. We are talk about three main topics. First, we will talk about the sharks in general information, introduction about the sharks, importance, why the sharks endangers, the threats affecting on the sharks, and share with you some different case studies in 2008 and 2016, and the current research and study that we start also this year and continue to the next year. And hope maybe some of you can participate with us and you can get some information, the result, as we will discuss later. This is very, very important for the scuba divers. Okay. And finally, for sure, we will tell you some code of conduct from our experience about how can you make safe diving with oceanic white-tip shark, because this shark is very, very curious for the divers, and why we select this species. Okay, so this is our main topics. We will start. Part one, we will talk about the sharks, important, why sharks endangered, the threats affecting on sharks, and how can we be aware and know exactly the status of the sharks conservation according to the IUCN Red List. In these topics, we have main subtopics. First of all, to know some information about the physical features of the sharks, importance of the sharks to the marine ecosystem, why the sharks are important to the marine ecosystem. Is it important or not? Yes. Why? We will deliver you several information and reason why sharks are important to the marine ecosystem. How can you understand, or how can you get, or how can you know exactly the conservation status of the sharks depending on the IUCN Red List? And we will practice some examples, and you can do it also to know exactly which species you like, so you can get the conservation status for this shark. And finally, at the end of these topics, the threats affecting on sharks. Clear? Unique physical attributes of sharks. Sharks are streaming lines, like torpedo shape, with dorsal fins and pectoral fins. The fins are in pairs. For example, dorsal fin have posterior dorsal fin and anterior and posterior dorsal fin. For the pelvic fin, right and left. Pelvic fin, two parts, and so on. For the tail, upper lobe and lower lobe, and so on. And this is the anal fin. This is the different features for the shark morphology of the sharks. Also, the gills on each side is exposed, not covered by operculum like bony fishes. You can found from 5 to 7 pairs on each side of the shark. In rays and the scales, they are flat body, not streamline, not torpedo shape. It is flat, and the gills in the ventral view. Most of the sharks are predators. Most of them, not all, most are predator and others are scavengers. Scavenger means feeds on dead animals. So this is very, very important role of sharks in marine organism, to feed on the dead animal, dead fishes, dead any dead animals, maybe human also, if some human accidentally lost in the sea. So the sharks need to break the organism into different small parts to get clean environment and healthy and so on. Some sharks are filter feeder like whale shark, basking shark, feeding on zooplankton and small fishes and so on, krill and so on. The skeleton made from cartilaginous, not bones. This is other main features. And the gill is exposed. We have other species or group of chimeras. Chimeras also cartilaginous, but different from sharks and different from bony fishes. Chimera have a cover on the gills and also no bars or no loops of the caudal fin. It's only very thin tail, and it's have a spine in front of dorsal fin. So it's a different group. And one of the main feature of sharks, it's don't have any swim bladder. Swim bladder is the main feature for the bony fishes. It's like a BCD for the divers to control the buoyancy, go up, go down, and so on. And this is the main feature for the submarine. If you submarine need to go up, it increase, add more air to float, to be positive um, buoyancy. And if you're going to sink, deflate and release the air and add more water to go down, to sink. For the sharks, there's no swim bladder. So how can the sharks control the buoyancy? All the time swimming in the open sea with the powerful tail, with the help of the pectoral fin, in addition to the presence of some oil in the liver of the sharks. So the sharks no have any swim bladder. Clear? This is very quick features for the sharks. Second subtopics important to the marine ecosystem. Number one, to maintain health of marine ecosystem. How can the sharks maintain this health? By feeding on many different species, not only few or one or two species. So now it's have a variety. If we don't have some species, so I can feed on other one. Okay, have a variety also, and not allow one species to be more than others. It should be make a control on the presence and the abundance of different species. This is the role of the sharks, and this is very important. So no animal can be more than other to keep the balance in the ecosystem. Also to remove sick, injured, and diseased animals. It's very, very important. The sick animal or injured or disease can make contamination or increase the disease by bacteria, fungus in the sea. So for example, if you are on boat and you can see some fishes in the water and you can see sharks. The sharks don't feed on this fish immediately. But if you are going to make fishing by line, for example, once you catch one fish, the shark will swim quickly to feed on the fish that you have fished already. Why? Because now this fish become injured or sick, give a vibration and release some blood, so the shark go quickly to release this unhealthy fish to keep healthy for the marine environment. For this reason, also why some fishermen by scuba diver underwater using the spear fishing to fish the fish in underwater can have attack from some sharks, because sharks come to this fish that already fished before. So it's give a signal to the shark it's unhealthy or injured fish. This is very, very important for the healthy of marine environment. This is the feature of the shark in the marine ecosystem. For the food chain and food web, we start the simple way, start by producer, herbivores, feeds on plants. Then after that, carnivores, first consumer, second consumer, and so on. This sequence should to be stable with different species, depend on the type of the food. For example, start with phytoplankton, takes the light for photosynthesis. After that, zooplankton is first consumer, feed on phytoplankton, and small fishes, the second consumer, feed on zooplankton, and big fish feed on the herbivores, it's the carnivores, feed on herbivores, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, if we released some fishes from the level, it will be affect in a negative way on the other level. But for example, if we hunt all um, the herbivores, for example, so the carnivorous will be the carnivorous will be increased and will feed completely on the herbivorous fishes, and these fishes will be decreased. When the herbivorous fishes decrease, so the algae will increase in high coverage and can be affected in a negative way on the coral reef, and there's no space to larvae to settle on, so the ecosystem will be unhealthy and so on. So the presence of top predator like sharks is, for this reason, is called keystone species. Keystone species, the presence of this species is very, very important. Maybe you can't see this important, but you can see the difference when in the absence of sharks. In the absence of sharks, when some scientific people make a comparison between some island in Hawaii, and healthy reef and unhealthy one. The healthy reef by the presence of sharks with more species, more diversity in corals and fishes, but the unhealthy one, it is with few species only because there is no sharks in this habitat. So the presence of sharks can keep health and diversity for the marine ecosystem. Also, sharks can protect the seagrass bed. Seagrass bed is very important to make stability to the sandy bottom and also add energy, oxygen by photosynthesis activities. So the seagrass called lung of the sea, and it's feed by mega grazers like green turtle and dugong. The presence of dugong and sea turtle is very, very important for the seagrass to make aeration in the sandy bottom, to make control on the development and on the recovery of seagrass species and so on, but with a limit. Sometimes the dugong moves in herds, many hundreds of dugong can feed on a seagrass, so the dugong can have a negative impact on a seagrass by high grazing effect. So the dugong can finish and decrease the seagrass cover in a few hours. And after that time, we will lose the seagrass beds. So what's happened? The tiger shark, which is the main predator to the dugong, come to swim very close to the seagrass habitat in the presence of the dugong. So the dugong will feel about the presence of sharks. In this case, this is two options. If the dugong will still on a seagrass for feeding, so the tiger shark will feed on a dugong like that. And this photo taken by Red Sea Ranger in Elba National Park, the southern Red Sea, you can see only the head of tiger shark in several locations in the shoreline, because the tiger shark feed on the dugong like that. So when the tiger shark feed on the dugong, it gives a chance to seagrass to grow again, and so on. Second option, in the presence of tiger sharks, the dugong will leave the seagrass immediately, because not to put itself in the middle between the shoreline and the tiger shark. In this case, the dugong left the seagrass and get the seagrass more time for recovery and so on and so on. So the seagrass is still more healthy and perform the benefit role for the marine ecosystem, like nurse ground, production, productivity, and so on. This is the importance of sharks to protect the seagrass bed. Clear? For the conservation status of sharks, the red list review about more than 1,000 sharks, rays, chimeras, and 30% of all of these species are threatened or near threatened with extinction. I can go to the website to tell you how can you know the status of each shark species. Everyone can visit IUCN red list. You can write IUCN red list, and here you can write any name, plant, animal, in the sea, in the desert, as you like. For example, I will write tiger shark. For the tiger shark, we can select this one, tiger shark, and the status is near threatened. We have here different categories of the status of the animal or the plant. Start with not evaluated. There's no data to evaluate. Data deficiency. We don't have more data. Least concern. Near threatened. Vulnerable. We have some impacts affecting on the species. So the number of the population will go down, decrease. Endangered with more impacts. The number of population get more decreased more and more. After that, if still decreasing, it will be critically endangered. After that, extinct in the wild, it's still found in the sea, but no one can report or see this animal. After that, we'll finish, gone. Okay, and so this is the last status update in August 2018. If I write here, for example, white tip reef shark, the small one that's swimming on the coral reef community. So the status is VU. VU is vulnerable. This one. Okay, like dugong also. Clear? If I go to right oceanic white tip shark, for example, wow, it's critically endangered. Before November 2018, the status of the oceanic white tip shark was vulnerable. Then it jumped 2 steps directly from vulnerable to critical endangered. It's not ranking before as endangered. So it's very important and very dangerous to this species because its population is decreasing very quickly. Population is the number of individual of the species inhabiting together in the same place and breeding together. So it's very important to conserve this species. And here you can see the distribution map of the species. For the Red Sea generally and Egypt particularly, we are lucky a little bit because we have more individual of this species come to our seas every year, and we can dive with this species. So critical endangered, and we have these sharks. It's very important to conserve the species and monitor and study the status. The status means study the population or the animal in different years, so we can make a comparison if the status is decreased or increased. For this reason, in our presentation, we will share with you some case study about the status of sharks in 2008 and 2016. 2016, we can make a comparison with 2008. And now we are performing the new study in 2021, 2022, and 2023 next year. And if you are happy to participate and share us, it will be you are very welcome. And we can publish all this data together because no one can do it alone. We need more information, no more divers to collect the data. Clear? So now anyone can make a check about the status of sharks according to IUCN Red List. The last subtitle for the first part, threats to shark. We have different main threats. Number one is overfishing. Not fishing, but overfishing. Fishing is allowed everywhere, but the overfishing is more than sustainability, with more capacity, with illegal methods, and so on. For example, bycatch. Bycatch, when some fishermen going to fish on target species like a tuna or sardine or fish, they can catch it as a sharks accidentally by net. So at that time, they can throw the shark again in the water, a bit for sure. And we don't have any data about the loose and about the number of these sharks. When the fishermen return back to the shore, to the marina, we don't have any data about the fishing of sharks in the open sea. So it's very difficult for the management, for shark management. Also, fishing as a purpose for fins. Some fishermen catch the shark and cut the fins and throw the body again in the water because it takes space. Other people use both meat and fish and fin as well for shark fin soup. Okay, and some countries for sure, like in Europe and USA, they strong demand for the sharks. Okay, it's depends, it's the politics. So we can do something to stop or decrease hunting or fishing of sharks. So overfishing, no methodology, never, no. Okay. So it's difficult to estimate the annual shark take. Until now, it's very, very difficult to estimate how many sharks that we lose exactly every day in the ocean. Okay, so it's need more collaboration between countries and do some activities to report everything. Clear? Shark finning, to remove the shark to the sea and take the fins and dump the shark again in the water, and for sure it's dead. And also we can't know how many sharks lose from these fins. Nobody knows. Habitat loss. Sharks come near to the shore in the reproduction season, and for mating or caring for the pups, for the babies, far from the activities, from males and so on, come every year in a specific place. So we need to identify this habitat to avoid any disturbance on the nursery ground for the sharks. By continuous of coastal development everywhere, we lose the habitat for sharks, not only for sharks, but for the coral reefs, seagrass, dugong, and so on. For sure, when you lose the habitat, so the animal also will decrease. The population will decrease as well. Like mangrove, for example, decreased by the discharge from the fish farming, shrimp farming, worldwide. Marine debris is throw rubbish in the water, drifted net, everything making entangling not only for sharks but for megafauna like dugong, dolphin, big fish, and so on. So for this reason, we can conduct some activities like clean up the beach, underwater, and so on. A swimmer protective device, like in some international beaches in Australia and so on, you can put the nets to protect the swimmers against the shark attack. But this nets not catch only shark, but also can catch dolphins, rays, dugong, and so on. Can kill the sharks immediately. Okay. Second part, case study in the Egyptian Red Sea. We started the first study in 2008 for the presence of sharks in diving sites in the southern Red Sea, Egypt. And we repeat this study again one more time in 2016 for update. So now we can assess the status for 2016 by the presence of the old data 2008. And hopefully we hope to continue the new study in 2022 and to 2023. So we can make a comparison between the previous two studies. And the new study in 2016 also have some data about photo identification of oceanic white-tip shark, particularly because this shark is critically endangered and also can cause some shark attack in our seas. So it's very important to study this shark. For the first study, for the study generally, studying the ecology for the sharks, the main goal is to identify the species of sharks at different diving sites. How many species that we have in our diving sites. Impact on sharks by fishing or diving activities. Public awareness, we can conduct some informations or presentation like webinar, for example, with you or with diving center or with diving and so on. So we can also put some code of conduct. How can you perform the do and don'ts with diving practice with sharks? For this reason, also we will talk about safe diving practice with oceanic white-tip shark at the end of the webinar. We have a case study for elphinstone. because at the end of the first study, we concluded that the Elphinstone is the main impacted site on sharks in comparison with Daedalus, Brothers, and so on. For this reason, we have a draft of management plan to avoid any problem for sharks in the future. Finally, to continue all of this study and share it with other divers, we created a shark monitoring program, Ecology and Sustainable Use for the Red Sea. It's a very, very nice program. So any diver can attend this training program and know exactly how can to collect the data that we will see the result in this presentation. Was a study effort of 2008. We started the 1st of June until mid of November. 194 hours of field observations from underwater. Encounter underwater. There's a different methodology to use to report the shark, but we follow the encounter underwater. We collected the data during scuba diving because we are divers, so any divers can do the same. As a study by fix some tracking device to study the migration, diving, presence, absence of sharks. Also, some studies of biology can visit the fish market and take the weight, length of the sharks and gonad size and so on. This is for the fisheries activities and so on. So we started using encounter underwater. Okay. Our first study was during only 138 dives in 7 study sites. And this is the map of our study sites: Brothers Island, Big Brother, Small Brother, Elphinstone, Daedalus, Zabargad, Rocky Island, and Habili Ali. Okay. For Elphinstone, most of you for sure know Elphinstone exactly. This is the top main view for the Elphinstone, and this is the diagram. So this is the South Plateau. It's have one plateau, which is this one, which is famous by the presence of oceanic white-tip sharks. So most of divers waiting in this plateau for the oceanic white-tip shark because all the boats mooring in the south because the wind mainly comes from the north. And for the north, we have different plateau, and this is the crack. And this is the crack here, about 42-meter depth. Is famous by the presence of hammerhead sharks in this area. Clear? This is in Mars Island. For the Big Brother, it's the island with the lighthouse to wreck here, mainly the boats fixed in the south. And this is small plateau with these very small pyramids with, I think, it's a territory for the treasure sharks. I have reported several times in this area. And they have different species, whale shark, hammerhead. You can see hammerhead swimming beside the reef at 10-meter depth, for example, and treasure shark also in this area at 10-meter depth. It's very different from Elphinstone. Hammerhead can report it in more deep water and so on. And this is for this photo from the top of the lighthouse. So you can see over there the small brothers. The small brother is over there here. This one. Let's have more diversity of sharks more than the Big Brother and so on. It's very, very close to each other. This is the south, so the boats here, this area. Clear? For the small brother, it's a very small island, but it's very, very rich with gorgonia and different species. And I remember I have one encounter for 16 gray sharks in this area in 2008, I think, first of 2008 or 2007, I think. Okay. Daedalus is very famous for the presence of hammerhead, especially at the corner over there. But also you can see silky sharks, treasure shark, oceanic white-tip shark, and so on. But shoals of hammerhead mainly famous for the Daedalus reef. And we have one expedition to Daedalus next November from 10 to 17. For the first study in 2008, we reported 8 species, only 8 species during diving. Okay, And the main results from this study, so anyone can do the same by take some participate in some monitoring and survey with us. Anyone can do the same like that. Here's a list of the 8 species. Number of encounters, the total is 110. Encounter means you can see or meet the sharks underwater face to face. Now I am underwater and can see one shark come. Gone. It's one encounter. After a few minutes, you can see maybe 2 together. It's another encounter, and so on. So the we have total of 110 encounter with sharks. And this is the number, the frequency for each different species. For example, we only encounter the whale shark for 1 time. For the treasure shark, we encounter only 10. Oceanic white-tip shark, 35, and so on. Clear? Number of specimens, number of individual during the encounter. So during 110 encounter, we reported 292 sharks. Maybe some individual are the same. I don't talk about the photo ID now. Okay, maybe one during encounter, another encounter with 5 sharks, and so on. So the number of specimens for different species, you can see 123 for Longimanus, for example. And hammerhead, spirulini, 87, and so on. Clear? Estimated size, the total length, start from the snout until to the tip of the upper lobe of tail. We can estimate with our visual eye. We can estimate. But after that, now we can get exactly the size of sharks, and I will tell you how at the end of the presentation. This is the estimation for the total length of different species. All of this data in the different study sites. For example, Elphinstone, Elphinstone, no whale shark in Elphinstone. We can see also treasure, and so all this species in Elphinstone. And this is the different sizes. So which site have more species and which are not, and so on. Clear? This is for the efforts. You conduct total of 138 dives, and this is number of dives for each dive site for the study size. Elphinstone, for example, because it's very close to the shore, so 73 dives, and so on and so on and so on. So our data, our results is come on these dives. Maybe if we have more dive in brothers, more dive in Daedalus, so for sure the data will be different. And if the average for each dive is 50 minutes or 45 or 60 minutes, so this is the average. This is the total time, 194 hours underwater with sharks. So Elphinstone takes 120 and so on. This is very important for our efforts to know exactly the results come from all of these efforts. Number of encounter at each site. I met the sharks 51 times underwater in Elphinstone. I met the sharks 12 times underwater in Big Brothers, and only 1 time in Habil Ali, but never encounter or met the sharks in the Bargat or Rocky Island in 2008. Clear? You can get some equation or some calculation to know exactly encounter per hour, for example. So here, for example, 0.91, the chance to encounter the shark is more in small brothers than Elphinstone. So the Elphinstone is the lower side to see the sharks. Why? Question mark here. I can't see sharks more in Elphinstone in 2008, but more in small brothers, then Daedalus, after that Big Brother, and finally Elphinstone. Number of specimens more in Elphinstone for sure, because we have more dives here. Okay, but we have more in Daedalus than brothers, because Daedalus have shoals of hammerhead. Clear? Specimens per hour. What does it mean? For example, here In Dedalus, for example, I can see at least more than 2 sharks per hour. So for sure, you can see sharks every dive more than maybe 3 sharks or 2 sharks, 3 or 2 sharks. Okay, but in Elphinstone, 1 or 2 per hour. Mean of divers, we counted the number of divers on each safari or daily boats per day and get the average. For example, the total number was in Elphinstone, 128, and the lower one in Smooth Brothers. So for sure here, with no lower number of divers means more encounter of sharks. More divers means low encounter of sharks. This may be a relationship between the presence of divers or diving activities, boats, and so on, by the presence of sharks. This is the main goal and main purpose of this study. Number of boats, more boats in Elphinstone and less in Small Brothers. Did you get the message? Okay. Okay, number of specimens observed for each species, 8 species. So the oceanic white-tip sharks, more, 123 specimens. Clear? In 2008. According to sites, the frequency of shark encounter, how many times I met shark underwater face to face, more time in Small Brother and the lower in Elphinstone. More chance in Small Brother and the lower is Elphinstone. Clear? Number of divers, more divers, the maximum number of divers was reported in Elphinstone, and the lower number of divers were reported in Small Brothers. Look to the difference between number of divers and the presence of sharks. More sharks in Small Brothers with low divers, low boats. Low sharks in Elphinstone means more divers in Elphinstone. Clear? Okay, this is one shot for the presence of diving boat in Elphinstone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. At that time, maybe some boats gone, other boats arrived, and so on. From underwater, you can see all these divers in one shot, in one place, waiting for oceanic white-tip sharks, a lot of bubbles, speedboats, boat move and come every time. Very, very noisy underwater in Elphinstone. Okay, second study in 2016, we reported more species, 10 species, with more species like tiger shark. Wow, so now tiger shark is reported for the first time from underwater after few years, 2008 and 2016. Now we have tiger shark. And silky also. For the new study, we accept some data by training some divers. So now we have more sites in our study, and we read the same methodology, the same program for the sharks, number of dives, hours encounter, we're using the same sequence, the same methodology to make a comparison between 2016 and 2008. What is the difference? For oceanic white-tip sharks in 2008, the presence of sharks in the comparison of other species was 42%. The occurrence of oceanic white-tip shark in 2008. But in 2016, this percentage is increased to 46%. 46%. So the population of oceanic white-tip shark is increased more in 2016 more than 2008. This is very, very important information in the new status of oceanic white-tip shark critically endangered. Is it safe or not? I don't know yet. We need to repeat one more year or one more study to know exactly if the population is still going up. So maybe it's abnormal. So for this, maybe some shark attack is occur in the Egyptian Red Sea. Did we need to decrease the number, for example, or not? What about the status? Is still go up or go down? So now I can make a comparison with not only for oceanic white-tailed shark, but for other species like hammerhead and so on and so on and so on. It's very, very important to study our species in our seas. Here, for estimation of the shark length, we reported the minimum length, total length, and the maximum. The minimum, for example, the whale sharks, the minimum size was 4.5 meters, small baby whale sharks, and the maximum one was 11 meters. For treasure sharks, ranged between 2.5 to 3 meter length. Hammerhead, and so on. Shark white-tip shark, 2.8 meter. Wow. This estimation, like this one. Look to as a difference between the size of the diver, the tank. What is the size length of the tank? Maybe, I don't know, 90 centimeter, for example, or 80 centimeter. Look, you can estimate 2 tanks, 3 tanks, 4 tanks. So you can take the total length of the shark, start from the upper tip of the tail of the caudal fin until the snout here. So this is a big size. Clear? Okay. Now, 2 years ago, we have started new techniques, very, very new technique to study the total length of sharks using a laser photogrammetry technique. Laser photogrammetry, the main idea is using the lasers and have and put our camera in the middle. For example, it's a GoPro, and we can fix the distance. It's 20 centimeters. Maybe you can use 30 or can use 50 centimeters. It depends on you. Okay, and I need to put scale on the sharks like that. You can see the 2 green dots of the laser here. So now I have a scale without any disturbance on the sharks. I don't catch the sharks to take the measurement. No, I swim beside the sharks gently and focus the sharks and perpendicular on the body like that. Takes photo. After that, insert the photo in the software and take some measurements like that. All the geographical measurements that I can take. Total length from snout to the upper loop, or the standard length of the eye, and gills, fins, anything. So now the standard scale is 20 centimeter. I can take the measure. So this shark, I think, is 163 centimeter. For sure, it is not accurate 100% because after that, I need to make a calibration for the camera. If you use the GoPro, Canon, Nikon, it's depend on the opening of the camera, of the lens itself. It have some equation and make a calibration and take this size and put in the equation to get the accurate millimeter for the measurements. Also, for example, I can take the measures to the lens for the pilot fish here. I can practice one measures with you here, for example. Okay, this one. I think you can see my screen. Okay. Okay, this one. Now I open one photo. And this is the lens. First of all, I make zoom. So you can see my dots here, the green dots. I need to tell the software, please set this measures as 20 centimeter. I draw a line between the 2 laser dots, then go to analyze, set scale, and write non-distance is 20. Okay, it's 20. Okay, save. Now the software know this distance is 20 centimeter. Okay, now I need to take measures for the total length, for example. Again, I draw the line here between the snout, and I can go to make zoom to be sure it is exactly on the snout, like that. Maybe a line, maybe more a little bit here. So it's very accurate. And move, 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 move. Zoom out. And continue drawing line until, click the line until the end. Okay, you can imagine the upper loop is ended here. Okay, so now I finished it. So all this line is the total length of sharks. To know the distance, go to analyze and measure. You can see 164.2 centimeters. So this length is 164. For sure, this is not the accurate. I can take 164 and put in my equation. I already have my equation of the GOP rule for server edition. I have already calculated and calibrated my camera. So I put this lens. So maybe it will be 164, not 164, maybe it will be 165 centimeter, and so on. Clear? Okay. Continue, go back to our presentation. We can do the same for any megafauna like sharks, dugong, dolphins, rays, big fishes, and so on, coral reefs, corals, and so on. Clear? So we can take all the different measurements of the sharks. So I can take photos only with the sharks, and later I can take all these measurements, the tail, trunk, head, gills, dorsal fin, tail, everything. Clear? Also during our modeling program for the sharks in the Red Sea to know exactly the distance from the reef, how far distance from the reef, the distance between the shark and the reef for the different species. It's very close to the reef, one or far from the reef, and get that. So you can estimate or you can imagine or assume the presence of sharks close or far from the reef. The second studies, the tiger shark was very close in the Rocky Island, for example. By the presence of sharks, we can have map. For example, this is for Elphinstone. Here at the middle is the plateau. The white dots is for the presence of Longimanus, sometimes in the north, but mainly the south. The blue dots for the hammerhead, and so on. Clear? And here, for example, we can create only one map for a very specific species like movement of the whale sharks here in Wadi Gamal National Park, Daedalus, Elphinstone near to the shore, and so on. Clear? We can do the same for different species. Also, we determine the sea depths below the sharks, if the sharks come from the blue or in shallow water. For the accident in shark attack in Sharm el-Sheikh, we ask about the presence of sharks. It come from drop off in the oceanic area. Oceanic means beyond 200-meter depths, start from the continental slope. This is the habitat for the sharks. The sea depths, we can estimate also, we can answer the check with the captain or the eco sounder and so on. The minimum and the maximum depths below the sharks, the bottom depths. Because we have another measurement for the depth at which the shark was swimming on. Now sharks swim at 5 meters. For example, Longimanus, minimum is 1 and maximum 38. And so on. Hammerhead, minimum 18 and maximum 50. And so on. Black tip shark we saw at the surface and the dorsal fin is out of the water. Clear? And so on. Now the new study for oceanic white tip shark using photo identification technique, we focused on the dorsal fin and lower loop of the tail to identify the individual by the notches and the shape and the pigments on the body of the sharks. And focus on the pelvic fin to identify the sex. If we have two clasper here, it's a male. Clear? We conducted this study only in Elphinstone as a very famous study site with this species to answer the question why the sharks approach every time in this place. So we can conclude the same with other species in other sites. Okay, here's the number, here's the months, and here's the number of individuals. In June, we reported 3 new individuals, 3 different individuals. In July, we reported also 3 individuals, but different, completely different than the individual of June. So now we have 6 individual of sharks. What's happened after that? In August, we reported 22 new individuals, not reported before. Wow, so the curve is increased. Suddenly, a lot of sharks come in August. In September, we reported 10. So this number is decreased. But we reported few sharks that already reported before in August or July or June. So the dark one is previously identified. In October, we still have new individual and also reported some individual which already identified from the previous months. In November, we still received more individual, but for sure not the same like August. For this reason, we can assume or conclude or estimate or predict, maybe we can predict sharks attack in the negative impacts from human in this time period of the year. Okay, August is coming. Take care. No throw the food in the water. No one swim in the open sea, and so on, because a lot of sharks will come at that time. We already submitted this scientific paper to international magazine to get approval, but unfortunately, it is refused, not accepted. Why? Because they said that it's very important information, but we need 1 more year for the comparison. So now I'm publishing this study until collect more data to make a comparison. Okay, what next? This is the cumulative curve for sighting of new individual. This is the number of sighting, number of encountering the shark underwater with identification. This is the number of individuals. First sighting, I reported 2 new individuals. Second one, I reported another 1. So now total is 3. Maybe after a few days, I reported new individuals. So now total is 5, and so on. And sighting number 5 with more new individuals, now the number is 15, and so on, and so on, and so on. Here, what does it mean? After sighting number 12, for example, it was 35 sharks. After few sightings, no more new sharks, no new individual. Still the same, still the same, still the same. But after that, new individual is arrived. But after few sightings, it's still the same, no more new individual. After that, going up a little bit slowly. And finally, after 20 sighting, no more sharks, no more sharks. But at the end of the study, we reported new individuals still come to the site of Elphinstone. But we finished. Wow, if we still more time or more year, maybe we reported more individual. It is if it may be new or come from the other previous site. Is it clear? For the male and female, for the female, this is the bold line. Look, maybe 2 or 3, and after in August, many individual of females arrive. Why females come here more than males? Maybe 2 males, for example. After that, more females arrived more than no females. no males. More females arrive, more female, more female. Finally, number of males arrive. So we concluded that this is a phenomenon called philobattery. Philobattery is a female of sharks come to visit the same place. We start after we have finished in 2016. We can collect few information after that in 2017, but we don't continue. But we need to continue to collect more data. We get very important information from the same individual. You know it from the notch of the dorsal fin. This is a female. Look to the abdomen here in November 2016, and the same individual in September 2017 is a pregnant. So it's come back again to the same site with the baby inside. So this is the philobattery phenomena that female sharks come again to the same site to take care of the babies away from the males and any impact and so on. So for this reason, we concluded that why sharks is arrived and come again every year at that site. So maybe this phenomena is occurred with other species like tiger shark or mako shark. Maybe it's happened with mako sharks in Hurghada, in Safaga. This is the area or reproductive area for the mako shark. Maybe other sites is for the tiger shark and so on. We need to study also for the same species of oceanic white-tip shark in brothers or endeavors and so on. So it needs a lot of team, a lot of qualified diver for how can we collect the data like that. Here. Also, we can use photo identification to study the behavior of shark. Why these sharks come to swim like that with the divers? Finally, we can identify this female with the same notch do only this behavior. And finally, we found that a hook, fishing hook, on the mouth of the sharks that try to release it. So maybe in this human impacts can make accident, not attack, but can make accident for the divers. Also for the diver, after finishing the safety stop at the surface, take some time, more times moving the fins at the surface so the sharks will attract to the fin movement. Okay, we will discuss it more details in the last session. Okay, so we have finished the first two parts about the sharks important and threats and conservation status. Second part on the case studies. The last part it will be visual using the underwater videos for safe practice with oceanic white-tip shark. I will share the video. First of all, we will start with the normal behavior with the oceanic white-tip shark is swimming slowly. It's not slowly, not clear, more slowly. Okay. Shark is approach, so I keep eye contact and make a safe circle around me, not allow shark to enter my security area. By gently extend my arm with the camera in front of shark or raised my fins gently in front of the shark. So once the shark arrives, now it will change the direction. Not allow the shark to come inside your security area, please, and don't touch the shark. Keep eye contact, because if you left, right, or left, maybe the sharks will come to look to you again. If you keep look like that, so the sharks will go away. Don't give your bag to the shark. Then gone. Finished. Next one, the same. Eye contact and don't go up to the sharks. If the shark is approached to you with the same level, okay, now be relaxed, vertical position, don't swim up or swim down on the shark. Okay, now the shark swimming up, don't go up. Clear? Now here I can identify the sex. There's no clasper between the pelvic fin, so it's clear it's a female. And gone. Next. To answer the question, from which direction the shark approach to the human, to the diver, from front or from the back, it's a published scientific paper studies to answer this question by put the diver in the middle of the water and several camera and record video from the top, right, left, down, and more than 94 or 96% the shark approach from the back. Okay, but finally they can't answer why, but for sure the shark can orient the direction of the human. So we use this information from this scientific research and try to do the same in Elphinstone using self-stick and put my back to the shark. But please don't do this experiment. Don't do this one with yourself. This is very, very dangerous, but if from one time to another, I keep look to the shark. Look. Now my back to the shark. Shark is come to my back, but be careful. Once the shark approach, I look to the shark, so the shark change the direction. So it can approve the sharks come to your back. Okay. So we can use for sustainable use during diving, keep eye contact with the sharks. Clear? Okay. Again, this is the normal behavior of the oceanic white-tip shark by swimming very slowly. Now I, at the same level, sharks come to me. Okay, I keep in my mind, don't allow the sharks to enter my security circle by gently extend my arm with the camera in front of me once the shark approach by 2 meters and so on. Look. Come slowly, 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 slowly. I extend my camera, look to my camera and turn left. So I can take my shot to identify the sex, the female, and so on. Gone. Don't follow the shark. Don't swim and follow the shark. Now shark is swim slowly. Again, slowly, slowly, slowly. You can identify the sex of the shark here. It's very clear, the clasper. You can see the clasper in between the pelvic fin. So it's a male with a different notch. So at the end of the dive, we can answer how many individual, how many male, how many female, and so on. Again, don't follow the shark. Keep the shark swim slowly like that. So you can enjoy. Here also, keep a vertical position in front of the shark. Don't move your fins slowly, and so on. That's it. Next. Again, now sharks come from a distance. Okay, can I go up to be in the same level to take a good shot? It's depend. If the shark is very far, you can do it very quickly, no problem. But if the shark swim very fast a little bit, so don't go up to don't disturb, avoid disturbance for the shark. Okay, no problem. I will stay in my level and extend my camera above my head to take some shots like that. So I can identify the sex, it's a female, and can take a shots very, very perpendicular to the animal. It's very standard shot to identify the notch, take the total length by laser also, and so on. But there's no laser in these shots. Don't follow the shark. Keep the shark swim. Here, it's very, very important that you using the laser. Why the camera, the shot is doing like that? Because now I am using the laser photogrammetry. It is switched off. Once the shark is approached, so I start to switch on my laser and my camera. I take my position. Now there's two different individuals. You can see the laser dots here. Can you see my laser dots here? Okay, it's very clear. Two laser dots. It's a male. You can see two clasper. So now we have one male. Thank you very much. Don't follow the sharks. That's the surface. You can see the laser dots. It's very clear. Look to this one. It's very important information. It's first time in my life to see this information. Look to the nose of the sharks. This one. I think maybe, I don't know exactly, first time to see these situations. Maybe a fisherman's catching the sharks and push the shark with a boat or with steel. I don't know. It's very important to see this one. And this is my laser. At the surface, another one over there. For individual, you relax, vertical position. Yes, here also you can see the laser dots, 2 laser dots. It's very clear. And this is a standard picture. I can take also the lens from the snout to the upper loop tip of the dorsal fin. You can take now exactly the total length of the shark, not estimated. Now I can take exact. This is a new technology and new technique using 2 years ago until now. Okay, and anyone of you can participate and take some training. How can you use that laser photogrammetry and to practice, and you can get these results. Look, now the sharks swim away. I don't disturb the sharks and take my shots with the laser, and I can take the measurement of the total length of the shark. Clear? Next, look, vertical position. Don't move your fins. Don't touch the sharks. Extend your arm to make a security circle so the shark not go inside this circle. Clear? Next, shark at the surface after the end of the diving after safety stop. Look to these divers. If the shark approach, he can extend the arm with camera. This is my limit, my territory, or extend the leg with the fins. So the sharks don't enter your security area, please. This is your security area, not allow the shark to go inside. Don't touch the shark. Vertical position, eye contact. Here. Okay, here, these divers don't be more fast to jump in the zodiac after the safety stop. So the fence is moving all the time. The fence creates a vibration in the water, so the sharks follow this vibration. Because the dive guide is a professional. If you can hear my sound, I go up and I alarm the dive guide to go up, to go quickly out from the water. I remind him by the presence of shark. You can hear my sound. So now I told him these are sharks, go out of the water quickly. So he put this fin in front of the sharks to create a security area here. So after that moment, the shark then left. Look, this is the dive guide. After I remind him by the presence of sharks, he put extend gently the fins again. With this case, it's very slowly. To jump quickly in the zone. Okay, so please, after end of the dive, jump quickly in the zodiac 2 by 2 and keep eye contact in the water to avoid any approach of shark. Maybe after the end of the dive on the zodiac, you can see sharks come to swim around. Okay, we can continue to put our camera underwater to collect the data and boring count. Here, it's very important information. This is it's me and my friend takes the camera, and this is the dive guide, and this is the sharks. We have 2 divers finished the dives and still at the surface beside the zodiac. The cameraman saw that the sharks going to the diver at the surface, so he tried to make some noise to attract the sharks away from the diver. This is the zodiac at the surface. and this is the divers moving the fins all the time. Again, the movement of the fins create vibration, so the sharks approach to this vibration. Cameraman make sound with shaker to attract the shark to his sound, to be away from the guest. But the guest is still moving the fins all the time. Sharks retain it back one more time. So the cameraman tried to make sound to attract the sharks. Once the sound is stopped, the sharks will return it back third time because the fin is start moving, still moving. Finally, shark is gone. More divers, more impacts, not a sustainable use here. No swimming in shark area because sharks mainly swim at the surface. We can tell our guests if we have sharks in the area like Elphinstone, brother, there is no swimming at the surface. So sharks still swimming all the time below the surface. Here, here it is one of a negative impact, unsustainable use. It is not sustainable use. From the dive guide, try to attract the shark to the guest by moving vibration using the SMB. Look to the behavior of the sharks now and after moving the line of SMB. So now the dive guide moving the SMB, so the sharks left directly to the direction of the vibration and swimming around. Imagine you are swimmers at the surface in far from the reef, and in the presence of sharks, your fins can attract the sharks to you. So by continue moving at the surface in the presence of sharks, sharks swim closer, more closer and closer, and with pushing the line down with SMB, so the sharks go directly to the source of the movement. And the circle is decreased. The diameter of the circle now is very close than the first one, if you remember. Movement all the time. Push the circle. Now sharks swim one more time to the divers. Just normal behavior, swimming slowly. Turn back. So the dive guide will push the line very strong. So the direction of shark will change directly to the source of the movement. Look what's happened. Now shark is upside down, is stand up, go up directly to the source. So if we're moving our fins, if you are free divers away from the reef or snorkel away from the reef 20 meters, because the profile will increase. When you go away from the reef, the profile is increased. So the deep water is the habitat for the sharks, using the fins all the time or movement. So the shark will come or go up like that. So imagine you are SMB in the open sea or far from the reef with the movement. So the sharks come to attract to the movement, not to yourself, but to the vibration, and to identify it can bite this object, and it's accident or not shark attack, maybe, but it's an accident. Yeah. Okay. Finally, thank you for attending the webinar. Now we have some quick quiz, but we can do it from your phone, from iPhone or your Android. So please, using your phone, join www.kahoot.it. This is the first step. Step number 2, I will give you PIN code, so you can enter PIN code. After that, you can enter your nickname to conduct some quiz. It's very fun. Okay. Okay, this one. So please visit okay, kahoot.it using your phone. Kahoot.it using your phone, please. Kahoot.it. Are you ready? After that, click enter this code. Okay, now Khalfan. Thank you. Lean. We need more participants. Ahmed Ali. Thank you. Lala, Nadan. Take your time, visit kahoot.it and enter the PIN code. Amr. Any more participants? Okay, so we can start with 6 participants. Are you ready? We have 10 questions. Each questions have 4 choices. Each choice have different color: yellow, green, red, blue, and so on. For example, if the correct answer is the red one, you will receive 4 different color on your phone. So you can click on the red color. That's it. But you can't see the words on your phone. You can see only the question and answer on the screen here. To get more points, you should do 2 things. Number 1, to answer the question correctly, for sure. Number 2, to answer quickly. So more quickly gives you more points. Coco, thank you. Clear? Again, so I will put the questions and for answer. We need to answer only within 20 seconds. Answer quickly. So this exercise to encourage your knowledge during our webinar, to answer the best quiz, the correct questions, the correct answer, and quickly. Ready? Okay, we have more participants who can wait 1 or 2 minutes. Again, you will see the question with 4 answers, each answer with different colors. On your phone, you will receive the 4 different colors and you should click on the correct color. Finally, we will see who is the first place, second place, and third place. Now we have 8 participants. Let's start. Go. Unique physical attribute of sharks. Select the correct. Okay, select the correct answer. Now you will see the color only on your phone. Okay, so no swim bladder. 3 of you answered correct, but 1 answered flattened body. Flat body is like ray and skate. It's not sharks. It's from, I know it's cartilaginous fishes, but not sharks. Sharks with, as we discussed before, it is a torpedo shape or streaming body. not flat. Flat like ray or scale. Clear? Okay, next one. Now Amr is the first place, then Ahmed and Lee. Okay, ready? Go. True or false? Removing sharks from food chain not unbalance the ecosystem. You can't change your answer. Not unbalance. Okay, false. Thank you. Because removing sharks from food chain unbalance the ecosystem. Unbalance the ecosystem. Disturb the ecosystem. But the question said not. So it's a tricky. Okay. Next one. Now it changed. Okay. Lean's going up. Follow to Amr. Okay. And Khalfan now we can see Khalfan and Sal. Okay. Perfect. Next. What is the most threat to sharks? Oh, for sure, the most threat to sharks is overfishing, finning, coastal development, lose habitat. Okay, the most threats that we have discussed in the webinar. Climate change, we don't discuss the climate change, but maybe, but I talk about the most threat to sharks that we have discussed in the webinar, like overfishing, finning, lose habitat loss, or coastal development, and so on. Clear? Okay. Wow. Now Lynn is very close to Amr. Has stick with 3 correct answers in a row. Perfectly. Amr, take care of Lynn. Okay. Next. How many shark species reported in 2008 in our study? We have discussed our case study in 2008 and 2016. 8. Thank you very much. And 10 in 2016. But in 2008, it was 8 species. Thank you. Now, Ahmed Ali is going up. Perfect. And Amr now have the highest answer. Perfect. Next, we still have 6 questions. Which study site with less frequency of shark encounter? We talked about Elphinstone, Big Brother, Small Brother, Daedalus. Elphinstone. Thank you very much. No, Small Brother is a high encounter with sharks. Okay. Less frequency of shark encounter was in Elphinstone. Clear? Okay. Wow, Amr is still going up first place. Ahmed Ali now get more progress. Thank you. We still have Khalfan and Sar. Are you ready? Go. The correct answer is 46. And in 2008, it was 42. 42 in 2008, but in 2016, it is increased from 42 to 46. So the correct answer is 46. Ahmed Ali, wow, first place now, Ahmed. Perfect. Okay, next. We are using underwater laser photogrammetry to measure what? Shark distance from the reef or what? Wow, total length. Shark total length, not from the reef, the length itself. For the sharks, for dolphin, huh? Okay, we still have the same sequence. Next, which not recommended, not recommended. Move the fence, not recommended. No, eye contact it is highly recommended to keep eye contact with the sharks. Clear? Ahmad, Amr, Lin, Khalfan, and Sa. Perfect. Next. It's very easy questions. Okay. All of you are correct. Tiger shark. Perfect. Wow. We lost Sarah and now we have Baban. Clear. Ahmed Ali still first place. Next. Last questions. Critically endangered. It was before 2018, it was vulnerable and jump endangered, not ranked as endangered, but from vulnerable to critically endangered directly. Is it clear? I think I have said this information. Before 2008, it was vulnerable and jump in danger, not ranked as in danger, but come directly from vulnerable to critically in danger until now. Okay, next. So now, Lean, place 3. Thank you, Lean. Who place 2 and place 1. Ahmed Ali. Thank you, Ahmed. And thank you, Khalfan and Baba. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for the Shark Ecology webinar and participating in the quiz. Thank you very much. Can continue the last part of the sessions. If you are interested to join us the next expedition for shark encounter in Southern Red Sea to Daedalus, Tori, and Elphinstone, we will be there with Emperor Echo on November from 10 to 17, and we have a 200 euro discount until the end of August. This trip was already amounted as 1,395, but now with 200 discount, it is 1,195 euro. If you are interested, you can join us and enjoy our shark ecology classes, modeling program, and survey every dive to collect the data and make some analysis and result as we already discussed in this webinar. You also practice how can you perform photo identification for the oceanic white-tip shark, and also you will practice using the underwater laser photogrammetry to take the measurements for the shark lens, fins, and so on. And for sure, you will receive high quality material and certificate of participation, 2 certificates, one for participate in the expedition Anwar for participate in shark survey in the Egyptian Red Sea. Thank you very much. And if you are interested for the certificate of attendance with a very few fees, you can contact us and you will receive a digital certificate with topics: role of sharks in marine ecosystems, raids on sharks, and monitoring program, safe diving practice with shark, white tip shark. This is the main topics that we have discussed today. Clear? And if you have any questions, I can answer maybe one or two questions, or you can send your comments, questions to WhatsApp or the email. And if you are interested in a booking shark exhibition, you can also give us a message on WhatsApp or email. And thank you very much, because after a few minutes, we will have another webinar in Arabic. And also, I will share the recording for anyone